Investigators have found a possible new lead in the St. George LDS Church fire.
A doctor is suing Gwyneth Paltrow after a nasty ski accident.
This is by far the coldest I've ever seen.
Temperatures plummet to dangerously low levels in the Midwest.
Welcome to Newsline. It's Wednesday, January 30th, 2019. I'm Paula Kiko Chandler.
And I'm Madeline Rubber.
Temperatures are expected to drop below freezing over the next few days for 72% of the people in the U.S.
That means about 212 million people are in for a deep freeze and will likely experience the coldest temperatures on record this week. Natasha Chen is in Chicago with more on the extreme cold that's gripping much of the nation.
This is by far the coldest I've ever seen.
Even for those used to bone-chilling temperatures, this week's record-breaking deep cold will be brutal, as a historic polar vortex brings extreme and dangerous cold weather to much of the U.S.
I can't feel my hands. That's what I say. It's unbearable and it's dangerous.
Officials say the extreme frigid air is torturing the Midwest and heading east, dropping temperatures 20 to 40 degrees below zero and shattering dozens of records along the way. Schools are closed and postal service suspended along some parts of 10 states impacted by the bitter weather. This week in Chicago, it will be colder than some parts of Antarctica, possibly reaching 27 below zero by Thursday. And in Minnesota, wind chills could reach 70 below zero.
Hard to take a breath in. It's affecting my lungs a little bit.
The deep cold has already canceled some 2,700 flights across the nation, with the worst weather conditions yet to come. Emergency officials are urging people to stay inside, saying the weather is already blamed for 3 deaths this week.
Just stay home and stay safe. Don't get on the roads if you don't have to.
With wind temperatures as low as negative 60 degrees, the United States Postal Service has suspended service. It has not announced when it will resume delivery service in the Midwest.
The Midwest is building up as Arctic plunges hits. Ali Arnold found out the term polar vortex is now trending on Twitter.
That's right, polar vortex is the second most utilized hashtag on Twitter right now, as Midwesterners are experiencing record-breaking temperatures. People are sharing just how cold it is by taking video and pictures of what it's like waking up to the polar plunge. 2 users, Mark Powell and Clara Scatter, showed ice forming inside their houses. Many are bringing awareness to the homeless community during this time and asking to give to your local shelters, as most are at full capacity. On the lighter side of things, people are making the most out of the cold with fun challenges. One challenge that's trending right now is spraying water into the air and watching it freeze immediately, as shown by user John Davies. This occurs at temperatures at least below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Police in Illinois are lightening spirits by arresting Elsa for bringing polar vortex to the most of the country. And if that isn't enough to warm your heart in the cold, I'd suggest looking at the many photos of dogs in sweaters and boots. Back to you.
That is heartwarming. Thanks, Ali. 5 students are displaced after smoke and fire damaged their apartment. Heating up some body wax on the stove. When she looked away, the wax caught on fire. The fire spread to the microwave above the stove, causing the apartment to be engulfed in smoke. The building was evacuated. Firefighters arrived within 3 minutes and put the flames out. The other occupants have been allowed to return to their apartments. The St. George police may have new leads into a church fire thanks to some surveillance video. Surveillance video captured a silver car at the site at the time of the fire broke out. Police wanted to identify people in the car so they could ask the people some questions. Investigators insist they are not suspects. Thanks to the video posted online, the police were able to identify them. Anyone with more information about the fire should call police.
A bill on the Hill plans to make changes to Utah's distracted driving law and cell phones. The original bill was used to prohibit using a cell phone manually while driving except when making a call to another person. The proposed amendment changes make it so that a person can call, text, or do any kind of phone activity as long as it's hands-free. Utah lawmakers are talking about ending daylight savings time in Utah. On March 10th, 48 of the 50 states will set their clocks forward an hour, including the Beehive State. But House Bill 66 could change that. Utah would stay in Mountain Daylight Time all year under the proposal. Congress has to make an amendment in national observance of daylight savings before the change could take effect. If the bill passes, Utah will join California and Florida in the line to stay in daylight savings time all year round.
Governor Gary R. Herbert's 2019 State of the State address will be held tonight at the Utah State Capitol. Tonight at 6:30, Governor Herbert will outline key public policy priorities for the upcoming legislative session during his 2019 State of the State. Seating is available for Capitol credentialed reporters in the media section on the House Gallery on first-come, first-served basis. The full text of the address will be released online at 7 p.m.
Right now, Utah Valley's population is expected to double in a few decades. A local group is trying to make this population boom a little bit more comfortable. Newsline reporter Danny Hallows joins us now. Danny, how can Utahns share their opinions about the Utah Valley growth?
Yeah, this is a beautiful live view of Provo right behind me, but this could all be changing in 30 years as our population doubles. There might be a causeway across Utah Lake in the future or a light rail in and out of the startup area. But what is it that you want? That's what a group called Valley Visioning is trying to find out.
By 2065, Utah County is expected to add 1 million people to the population.
Congestion light. My 2 cents.
To put that into perspective, imagine your already busy morning commute. Now add 20 more cars to the traffic backup, and that's what doubling the population will look like.
Utah County is experiencing rapid growth.
But a local group, Valley Visioning, is trying to help make that growth easier. Valley Visioning holds workshops where Utahns can come and map out what they want to see in the future.
It's exciting that everyone is invited to be a part of this.
First, they take a survey about issues like air quality or different kinds of housing developments. Then teams of strangers sit around a big valley map.
It's for all the workers because there's supposed to be like 3,000 jobs.
Pull out their game pieces and get to work.
It felt like we were playing Monopoly.
Sometimes there are disagreements.
They can create jobs in their communities, then there's less need to commute.
But this is just phase 1 of Valley Visioning's plan.
We'll take the best components, the most supported components, and form them into a vision. And that vision will be great for informing elected officials, policymakers. When they have to make a decision, it gives them good direction.
The next Valley Visioning workshop is in Payson on February 5th, but if you can't make that, you can go to an online survey and make your opinions heard. It's just not as fun as playing Big Kid Monopoly. Reporting live in Provo, I'm Danny Hallows.
Thanks, Danny.
Gwyneth Paltrow is facing a lawsuit from a retired Utah doctor who claims the actress crashed into him while skiing in February of 2016. 72-year-old Terry Sanders is suing the Oscar-winning actress for $3.1 million. The suit alleges Paltrow was skiing out of control and hit him at the Deer Valley Resort in Park City, Utah. He says the collision caused a severe brain injury, 4 broken ribs, and other serious trauma. Sanderson claims Paltrow and the ski instructor with her did not stop and assist or reach out for help. A man who couldn't keep his pants on during a Delta flight is behind bars in Salt Lake City. Delta says 37-year-old Aaron Hansen was under the influence and assaulted flight attendants and a passenger on a flight from San Francisco to Atlanta. The flight diverted to Salt Lake City Tuesday morning. The flight was met by law enforcement in Salt Lake City. Hansen was removed before the flight continued on to Atlanta. He is currently in the Salt Lake County Jail.
The American Lung Association says Utah needs to do more to reduce tobacco use. The American Lung Association released its 2019 tobacco report and made suggestions for improvement. It suggested increasing funding for the state's tobacco prevention and control program, increasing the minimal legal sales age for tobacco to 21, and raising Utah's tobacco tax to encourage an even further reduction in tobacco use. Minimum age for the sale of tobacco product in Utah right now is 19.
Olympic bid officials say they will request as much as $15 million from the Utah State Legislature to bring more sporting events to Utah for future Olympic Games. The funding would go through the Utah Sports Commission to be used over the next 10 to 12 years to bring in more events, like the FIS Freestyle Ski and Snowboarding World Championships. The U.S. Olympic Committee gave Salt Lake City the okay to bid for future Winter Games, most likely for 2030.
A car takes a 9-story plunge and burst into flames.
We'll show you the video of the accident and tell you what happened to the driver. A major company is recalling a fan favorite food. Find out what it is and whether you will need to throw it out of your freezer.
The NFL cancels a Super Bowl tradition. Find out what won't be happening this year and what caused the cancellation.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So, I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at savethefood.com.
There's a political crisis brewing in Venezuela.
Vietnam en América Latina. Si los Estados Unidos pretenden
agreeing over who is the legitimate leader of the country. A ripple effect from this standoff is reaching the United States. Maduro accuses the U.S. of leading a coup against him and trying to steal the country's oil wealth. President Maduro made a plea to the American people to not let Trump turn Venezuela into, quote, a Vietnam in Latin America. The Trump administration has claimed in recent weeks that the terror group ISIS has been defeated. But U.S. intelligence agencies are warning ISIS is not only alive, but also plans to come back. Director of National Intelligence Dan Coates also warned that Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad is not focused on clearing out the remnants of ISIS as the U.S. plans to withdraw troops from his country.
Women are being urged to wear white to President Trump's State of the Union address. This next week, the House Democratic Women's Working Group has invited female members of both parties to wear white as a symbol of solidarity. In 2017, the same group coordinated Democratic women wearing white. The chair of the group, Lois Frankel, pointed out there are more women in Congress than ever. Tyson Food is recalling some of their chicken nuggets after a possible plastic contamination. The recall involves the pre-cooked nuggets in 5-pound bags. All bags included in the recall are from November 26 until now. Some buyers found small pieces of blue plastic in the bags. More than 36,000 pounds of the chicken are being recalled. No injuries have been reported yet.
A car burst into flames after falling 9 stories in a Miami parking garage.
For the car that I heard, all of a sudden I thought I hear my car alarm going off, and then I hear a big bang, turn around, the car had fallen. Elevator shaft.
Matt Oleknowicz just moved to Miami from New York and says he parks in the garage every day. Miami Fire Rescue got their fire under control within 10 minutes. No damage was done to any neighboring businesses and no injuries were reported. About an hour later, crews were finally able to lift the mangled car out from under the ground in the garage.
There's a new unique activity in town.
Find out why hatchet throwing has become such a popular pastime. The Super Bowl is around the corner and people are preparing to host their annual parties. Find out how much money Americans spend on the gatherings.
The Arctic blast is still going strong, dropping so cold it's freezing even inside of homes, but at least trains will be a bit toasty, all when we get back.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Hatchet throwing is sweeping the nation as a new thing to do, and people in Utah are not waiting to catch on. Newsline reporter Amber Peterson found out what the hype is all about. Amber?
That's right. Escape rooms used to be the thing to do. Then it was all about virtual reality. Now the hype is picking up an axe and throwing it at a target.
Places like Heber hatchets have been popping up around Utah and the United States as the activity continues to grow in popularity.
From what I've heard, it's pretty new, so we wanted to give it a try. It's my birthday today.
Customers can have a lane for a minimum of an hour and throw axes until either their stress is melted away or their arm strength has given out.
It's been fun so far. My wife's beating me already. We're like 5 rounds in, and I've hit it twice.
The manager says throwing an axe is pretty similar to throwing a baseball.
Most of the time we just tell people to throw it like a baseball. There's a two-handed throw and a one-handed throw, and either way, when you go to bring it back, you just want to get a good swing on it, almost like you're chopping through the air and then letting go halfway through.
Sounds easy enough, right? Most people pick up their technique after a few rounds of throwing. Once that axe finally sticks, it feels so good. There are several activities people can participate in at Heber Hatchets. Various game ideas are posted on the walls to help customers get creative with their throwing and competitive with each other. As far as safety goes, the managers have made sure that customers are going to be safe while sharp blades are flying through the air.
It seems dangerous, but pretty safe. So we have these back lines. We just tell people, look, if everybody else stays behind the back throwing line, they're going to be okay.
Hatchet throwing is perfect for the competitive at heart.
Everybody enjoys it. I've never had somebody leave that didn't have fun.
During my time here at Heber Hatchets, I found that hatchet throwing is not only a good exercise and great stress reliever, but if you do come, be prepared to leave with some really sore arms. Back to you.
How much are you spending on your Super Bowl party? It won't be cheap to catch this year's matchup between the Patriots and the Rams. Mary Maloney adds it all up.
Watch from home, the big game will cost you. That's according to a new survey by the National Retail Federation. The survey found the average person will spend $81.30. That's the second highest spending since the survey started. The biggest spenders will be people between 35 to 44 years old. The survey found 182.5 million people are expected to watch the New England Patriots take on the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday. Among those who plan to watch the game, 7% will buy a new TV. 10% say they'll purchase team apparel and accessories. 79% plan to buy food and drinks. Pizza Hut expects to sell more than 2 million pizzas on game day, and the National Chicken Council estimates Americans will eat more than 1.3 billion chicken wings. That's enough to stretch from Gillette Stadium in Massachusetts to the LA Memorial Coliseum 28 times. The survey says close to a quarter of game watchers plan to attend a party. 17% will host one, while 5% say they'll watch from a bar or a restaurant. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mary Maloney.
This year's Super Bowl will take place in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta this Sunday at 1:30 Eastern Time.
The NFL is canceling its traditional Super Bowl halftime show press conference. This year, Maroon 5 is set to perform at the Super Bowl halftime along with rapper Big Boy and Travis Scott. Typically, the artists performing would meet with the press on Thursday before to discuss their performance and tease what's going to come. The canceled press conference comes amid the legal battle between Colin Kaepernick and the NFL. Instead, behind-the-scenes footage and other content will be put on social media and digital media.
The Arctic blast continues to freeze the Midwest. Rail tracks in Chicago were set on fire to keep them running. Wade Horvath shared this video Wednesday on Instagram from inside a metro rail. As we move on to our radar, we can actually see that there is actually this, that's the Arctic blast, that purple area, and it kind of is going to be moving out. Meanwhile, this heat wave down here, this red is going to come up, giving this kind of a bit of a warmer temperature before another bit of cold air starts coming in from the north. Meanwhile, on this side over here, we're actually going to see some rain start coming across, hitting Utah. It'll be a mix of rain and snow as it hits us, and that will be about Friday going through into past the weekend and into Monday. As we look at today's highs, we can actually see that Salt Lake is going to be at a 40, Provo at a 37. Meanwhile, Vernal's at a 26, and St. George is at a whopping 58. Wendover as well is at a 38, and Richfield a 44. So we got a pretty good spread across for our highs. As we go to our lows, we can actually see that things start to drop pretty drastically. St. George is actually going to drop 24 degrees down to a 34. Vernal's hitting all the way down to an 8, so make sure you bundle up if you're out in Vernal. Salt Lake City and Provo, 24-20, so it is going to be cold. Going to definitely want to wear some jackets. As well as Wendover is at a 21. So up in the north, in this central area, it's fairly consistent, and then some cold fringe temperatures going around. As we go to our 5-day forecast for southern Utah, we can see that we're going to start at about 59, low of 37, some clouds, then the sun is going to come out, only to be covered up by some rain. It's going to stay rain though. 52 is the high and 41 is the low. Then we're going to get a bit of cloud cover down there, and then finally finish up with some rain on Monday. Going into our 5-day forecast for northern Utah, we can see that it's going to be sunshine Thursday and Friday. Meanwhile, Saturday and Sunday is going to bring in some rain. That might transition into snow, more likely as Monday comes along. And those temperatures are going to drop. Anyway, so as we do that, make sure you keep that in mind. We'll be right back.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Utah Jazz second-year star Donovan Mitchell will participate in the Mountain Dew Ice Rising Stars Challenge next month for All-Star Weekend.
Gotta love his energy. Here's Mitchell, and wow, that was sweet. That was sweet.
The league announced Mitchell as a member of the Team USA yesterday. Mitchell will be teaming up with other great young talents of the league like Kyle Kuzma, Jason Tatum, and De'Aaron Fox as they go up against Team World, a team consisting of great young talent from overseas like Ben Simmons and Luka Doncic. This is Mitchell's second year participating in the Rising Stars Challenge. Last year he posted 7 points, 7 assists, and 5 steals. UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov and former UFC champion Conor McGregor have officially been punished for their melee following their super fight in October of 2018. Following their fight at UFC 229, Khabib jumped the fence to attack a member of Conor's team. Conor remained in the ring when he was attacked by 2 members of Khabib's team. Conor also threw punches in the exchange. Khabib has been fined $500,000 and suspended from fighting in Nevada for 9 months. This suspension can be reduced, however, if Khabib is to record an anti-bullying public service announcement. Reports have said that Khabib is done fighting in the state of Nevada and plans to fight in November at Madison Square Garden. Conor, on the other hand, was suspended for 6 months and was only fined $50,000.
Thank you to Nevada State Athletic Commission, my team, the UFC,
mainly the fans, everyone for sticking by me throughout this process.
UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Jones was granted a one-fight conditional license yesterday following a positive test over a minuscule M3 steroid metabolite found in his body. Last month, Jones was not cleared to fight in Nevada for the same metabolite. The UFC moved the entire event to Los Angeles for the champion to regain his title. Jones is scheduled to defend his title against Anthony Smith in Nevada at UFC 235 on March 2nd. As long as the metabolite level stays consistent, Jones will be allowed to participate. We'll be right back.
Truth is, I'm impressed. I haven't been asked such intelligent questions in a long time. Nice.
These are cool. Did you, what did
What?
Duck, duck, arrow. A goose named Grace is safe and sound after being shot with a crossbow. Grace was just goosing around in the Brazos River with her Chinese goose friends when she was shot with a crossbow. Grace was rescued and taken to a wildlife rehab farm in Waco, Texas, where the arrow was removed and her trachea repaired. Authorities suspect a group of local kids are responsible for shooting Grace. I guess Grace should have ducked.
Those darn kids.
I know, I feel really bad for the poor duck. I feel like she was just minding her own business, playing with her duck friends, her Chinese duck friends.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Goose, thanks for joining us today for Newsline.
For more information on our stories or to share them with your friends, you can check us out at universe.byu.edu/newsline.
Have a great day.